There's a no-hitter right now, bottom of the seventh. Oh, never mind. No longer a no-hitter.
Wow!
Without Jerry McNamara, we wouldn't have won 10 fucking games this year.
Talking about this?
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen.
You should have started reeling because I've been all over that.
And here we go.
Oh, spring is in the air. Grass clippings everywhere. Scorecards being ready to be filled out on Thursday because baseball is back. I am Kevin, your host, aka the Phil Jackson of the group, joined as always by Corey, or the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. And we are also pleasantly, surprisingly joined by one Steffan Saxby, who is the Dennis Rodman of the group.
Or the real goat.
I like to call you the worm. I think that's suitable. I mean, because I think you are definitely the Dennis Rodman, and it's because you show up when you want, but when you do, you make a huge impact on this podcast, negative and positive. So, yeah, I think you're just.
You could just show up to Korea, talk to Kim Jong-un.
That comes later in life after you've retired from the podcast, and
Okay.
Then you get your Korean connection.
yeah, that's when everything happens. So we've been watching some college basketball. We've got a lot to talk about on college basketball. We're winding down, so of course we've got plenty to talk about there. And NBA playoffs are around the corner. They start April 15th. More teams have qualified, including the process, so we'll talk about that briefly. MLB, like I said, and some fights going on this weekend, or there may not be some fights in the future. We'll talk about that. But let's dive right in to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 action this past weekend. Guys, digging this tournament?
Yeah.
Not so much. The team couldn't even make it into the Sweet 16.
So we're just
Just
holding grudges. Is that what's going on? I'm thrilled. My team well exceeded my expectation in the tournament, so I have no issues.
Making the tournament exceeded your expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
And our team's underperformed, so how do you think we feel?
Hey, the smile.
Plus,
2 thumbs up. Apparently, I'm the big winner in this tournament. Huh?
Bracket's garbage.
Honestly, I don't think that. I mean, the way that my region and everything, like Gonzaga's region,
And UNC's region, too.
yeah, the way that all fell through, and even the South region up there
Even worse.
was falling through. My expectations for Gonzaga went higher, and realistically, I didn't see them going that far going in. I mean, I was going to root for them either way, but I just didn't think that they had enough to go.
But when you saw
But when I saw everybody going down, I was like,
Loyola making the run,
all right, we got a chance here. And then we couldn't get past fucking Florida State.
so what's your take, Kevin? You enjoying it?
I've been loving being able to root for my team. Now I'm rooting for Loyola Chicago because everyone loves a good underdog story. That's all I got.
That's the part I don't like.
Oh, you're one of those. Oh, let's see some team that's already won the tournament win again. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Let's see someone new.
Loyola's already won the tournament too.
Yeah, well, they haven't won lately.
It was actually in the 70s. It was sooner than I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah.
That
I thought it was going to be in the
50s,
40s,
yeah.
50s. I just like to see competitive matchups. I don't think that game's particularly going to be competitive, but you never know. Maybe it will be, and then it'll surprise me. Michigan Loyola.
I think that
by competitive, I mean I think it'll be a double-digit win, like non-competitive, I guess.
Spoiler.
I think that game will be competitive. I think the winner of that game going into the championship is not going to be competitive. I was going to say,
do not say the other game will not be competitive.
No, I'm saying I don't think that the championship game is going to be as competitive.
But that's what I mean.
As we've seen in the past couple of years.
For me personally, it isn't the teams. I want to see the same teams win every year. I'm much more excited to see Villanova versus Kansas. Like Loyola versus anybody just doesn't excite me. I don't care. For me personally.
I love a good underdog story, and this school is not even supposed to be in the national championship game. That's why we play the championship, so we don't get the best team. We just get the team that's hot at the right time, at the right day, right moment. I'm not too surprised by this performance. I mean, I did have Loyola Chicago in my top 25 back in December. Just saying. Just
beat Florida once, and he fucking throws them up into his top 25.
Well, you saw how much he valued that win. He had Florida in like the Elite Eight.
Needless to say, my bracket's done.
My other thing is too. Well, I guess now you can say Kansas too, but Loyola and Michigan are lucky to be there. They both needed game buzzer beaters just to be there. And Kansas needed a buzzer beater to rim out twice to be there. So I'm not too... Kansas deserves it, though. That's why I'm not on them. But the other two teams, I don't even think are really deserving.
I mean...
It's luck.
Regardless, they did what they had to do to get there. Yeah. They put themselves in a position to get those breaks.
Yeah.
It's just like the Super Bowl. It's like any other championship.
I know it's also a moot point because you guys are college fans and I'm an NBA fan, and in that Loyola Michigan game, there's no players that I give a shit about. Like, there's nobody that's going to be anything in the next level. So, and the other side, there's a lot of players, so I care more about that game. I like seeing NBA talent.
Do you think that the NCAA tournament will ever make a move to what the CBI tournament does?
I don't know what the CBI tournament does. In
championship game, they do best of 3.
That would be cool. I'd be all for it.
I don't know. I kind of like the one and done because you got to be on your A game every game.
Mm-hmm.
It brings more excitement, I think. That's why I think the NFL playoffs are so successful.
Yeah.
Same concept.
I think anything with a series, it's kind of loses its luster unless someone comes from like 3 games down and comes back to win it. That's when it gets exciting.
I don't know if I like series that get pushed to 7, especially in the championship. Even if the games, all 6 of them are blowouts, there's still anticipation for who's going to win Game 7.
Yeah, I guess. The big controversy this past weekend, though, was Kentucky allegedly walking off the court and not shaking hands with, who was it? Kansas State?
Kansas State, yep.
What are you guys' thoughts on that?
We kind of touched base on this with, I believe we were talking about Cam Newton. Was it just you and I, Kevin, that were talking about Cam just recently?
Yeah.
About competitive spirits and being affected by just losing. I think we were more talking about press conferences and what your attitude should be towards the media. But, I mean, just look at the next level. There was LeBron and Miami Heat infamously lost and walked off the court. No handshakes. So I don't think it's that big a deal. If you lost, you...
Did they lose the series or they just lost?
They lost the series. I think it was Dallas. They didn't shake hands. That was like a big deal because they were kind of rude to the Mavericks after the Mavericks finally got a championship. But to me, what do you want them to do?
Right.
That was like LeBron's like big thing. I needed to go win a championship. Oh my God, I actually got there with this team that's supposed to be amazing, and now I just fucking lost. Not happy.
I want them to stand around and watch me celebrate. No, I don't care. I just found it interesting that they were blowing it out of proportion. Like they looked, they saw that they were all jumping on each other and celebrating, and Usually,
Yeah, like, what are you supposed to, yeah, exactly. Like, are you supposed to sit around and wait? Like,
Right. And it was the same in Dallas. Right away, Dirk like dropped to his knees. Like, what do you want? I guess you could go up and pat him on the back and say
Right.
congratulations, but what are you supposed to do?
that's always tough.
They're also kids,
Yeah.
and I guess on the flip argument is college basketball seems to be more of a gentleman and sportsmanship type thing. So to not do it is a little bit out of the norm. But I really don't have a problem with it.
We do have a comment. Someone's actually watching us.
Holy shit.
I'm not gonna say who it is, but their message is they lose in tennis, they shake hands. Word.
They do shake hands in tennis, but that's a gentleman's game.
Yeah.
Oh, are we getting back into this gentleman's game thing again this week?
What are our gentlemen's sports?
Sorry, golf.
Tennis, golf, cricket.
Polo.
I don't know. I don't have too much of an issue with them going off. I mean, it's kind of like the national anthem. I think it's dumb, especially in a tournament type situation, to expect them to shake hands after.
Too many people get butthurt over things that literally don't matter.
Yeah.
That don't phase you at all. Like, they're not affecting your life one bit.
I don't think it was.
Apparently, it is.
And I guarantee you that anybody, Kansas State,
Yeah.
I guarantee you nobody on Kansas State even cared. No. I guarantee you none of them were like, you know what? They never fucking congratulated us.
I have a question. Did Calipari shake Kansas State's coach's hand?
Oh, I guarantee that happened.
Then
No,
no
he didn't.
problem with it. Then.
He didn't?
He waited and said that the coach was off celebrating with the team, and that's when he decided to turn around. He wasn't going to wait forever.
I don't know.
So.
Well, then that's more on Kansas State.
Yeah.
The coach for Kansas State, because he should have gone, shook his hand, and then
celebrated. Right.
Especially Calipari was going to make the attempt to go shake. I mean, that's like one of the first things you always see is two coaches go over, they shake hands.
Yeah, they go, they put their hands in the air, and then as they bring it down, they're shaking and saying something.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't put that on Calipari at all.
Keep it classy, coaches. Keep it classy. Any other things you want to talk about before we start talking about your guys' brackets?
Really
brackets are shot.
There's nothing to talk about the fucking.
Well, you may say it, but there is a lot on the line going into
for this Villanova Kansas game.
Yes.
Yeah.
For you guys, I'm where I am, and I need Corey and your Villanova Wildcats to come through for me.
Just because you don't want Steffan to win another one?
Yes.
I don't think I can win.
Yeah, you can. Can't you?
No.
I don't know how the math works.
We decided that we were gonna do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or whatever.
Oh, we did.
I thought
we were doing the ESPN thing.
Oh, I've been scoring it.
Okay. Either way.
All right. Well, then, congratulations, Corey, on your golden thumb.
Finally, we all won one.
Yeah. Plus, Corey needs something.
Another one.
Have a little bit of a down year.
You just started.
I can send that mass bulk shipment of golden thumbs your guys' way. I think there's like 4.
And I lost college football.
Heartbreaker.
Choked that away. That wasn't good.
If I had Kansas winning, like I did in my other bracket, then I would have had a chance to beat you. Stupid me.
All right. Well, then, who are we cheering for in the final game?
I'm going to say Kansas versus Loyola Chicago. Kansas winning it all. Sticking with my pick. Not that pick, but the other pick. The other one I thought of 20 minutes before.
Why? Why do you want Loyola?
I mean, if they can play the way that especially the way they played against Kansas State, I mean, they were hitting threes left and right.
Watching their team almost looks like a layup line most of the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they have something about them. I do think that Michigan is overall a more talented team. But, I mean, Michigan just barely scraped by Florida State, which, not saying Florida State's terrible. But, and they barely beat, what was it, though?
They needed a last-second shot to beat – well, they crushed Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed a last-second shot to beat whoever they played before them. Houston. Because that broke Kevin's heart. Shout out to Kevin Hart.
And Kevin's heart. Kansas, I mean, I told you I thought they were one of the hottest teams coming into the tournament.
Kansas and Michigan, I think, are the two hottest teams.
Our viewer says that Steffan and Corey should shake hands for the loss.
For what loss?
The bracket loss.
Oh, for me losing to him? No, we're not gentlemen. And this isn't a gentleman's game.
This is cutthroat. I knew that going in.
We did not name this as a gentleman's game, okay?
Hey,
Anything
I'm fine with
podcast.
I'm just letting you know what the viewers at home want to see.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you will never see me shake this man's hand. If you want to unfollow us, go ahead. But don't really. We need all the viewers.
All right,
I do think Villanova is just playing lights out, but
until they played Texas Tech. But the only thing they showed there is they don't have to shoot well and they can still win.
Yeah. Shot terrible.
Horrible. And that was my big thing to use. They won't have a bad shooting night. There's notes. There's 6 people who actually shoot 39% from 3 or better. And they had a night where they shot 22% from 3 and they won by double digits. That's scary to me.
Kansas can answer that.
They have, I think, that game. My picks are Michigan versus Villanova. My notes on Michigan are they're the best defense in the whole tournament so far. They held Florida State to 31%, I believe, from the field, and they've held their opponents to under 35 total. But they aren't good at offense. And I don't know what happened against Texas A&M. They got hot. But then they went right back to not being that great on offense. So on the other side, I got Villanova, who's the number 1 offense in the tournament. Just mentioned the 3-point shooting capabilities. They have the better players. They've beaten everybody by double digits. So I'm going with them.
So say it comes down to that, which wins, the offense or the defense?
Guess we'll see. But I'm going with Villanova.
I'm asking you.
I'm going with Villanova.
I know we'll see.
I'm going with Villanova because
I
think they have more talent. I think they have more talent. And I think even though they are the quote-unquote the offensive team, their defense is still actually pretty good. They aren't scrubs.
Well then, I'm going to take what Corey said in this hand. I'm going to take what Steffan said in this hand. Smish them together and get my picks because I'm taking Nova and Loyola Chicago. I feel like you just said it right, Corey, that Michigan doesn't have an offense, and I feel like they got lucky with Houston. I got off the Loyola Chicago bandwagon earlier this year. I'm getting back on. I'm riding that train in the championship Monday, and they're going to not win on Monday to Nova. Nova is too good. And that's my analysis.
Fuck no.
This guy had him losing to Alabama, so he's still sour.
Hashtag get over it. Jesus.
Not going to get over it. They also beat Gonzaga by like 30, so I'm really not over that.
They're solid. They're solid this year.
That was what I knew Gonzaga was not going to hang. I was all hyped up for that game.
That game was over at halftime, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a good game.
All right, well, Monday, we'll be here live, streaming, making our opinions, and eating extremely hot chicken wings. But we have our new game, over, under, and even to play. I still don't have a theme song, so let's start off. Last week we talked a lot about Syracuse and that, and apparently we're gonna sprinkle in some Gonzaga this week. So
Cool.
but let's talk about UNC first and where they'll finish next year. The over, under, even is set at the Sweet 16. What are we taking? We'll give the UNC fan first dibs on this one.
I have them finishing under. So not making it to the Sweet 16.
Maybe I should put, will they even make the tournament next year?
I think they're going to have a tough year. Their leadership is going to be Kenny Williams and Luke May, who I don't see as being the kind of leaders that Joel Berry and especially Theo Pinson was. I think that's going to be more who they're going to miss is Theo. It's going to be up to Kenny Williams because it's a guard-driven league, college basketball, to really step up and play at a high level. And they have this freshman phenom coming in, but we all know how freshmen are, especially freshman guards. He can make lots of mistakes. If he's as great as everyone says he is, maybe they will be good, but I'm not going to bank on that.
See Trae Young great?
No. So
no one can
I don't like our leaders going into next year. I'm not a Luke May fan. So
I thought you were a Luke May fan at one point.
yeah, when he's hitting game-winning shots for us in the tournament.
Like at the beginning of this year, weren't you?
No, I think that he's like a good college player. I don't think he's like real quiet. He's like a lead by example, kind of do your work kind of player. And we needed like our two vocal leaders in Barry and Pinson are gone. I think that's really gonna hurt. Unless Kenny Williams surprisingly can step up and take the team over and put it on his back. I don't see that happening. We lose Cam Johnson also. He was a transfer senior. He's gone as well. So our team's gonna be hurting.
3 new starters.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that will take us to our next question. UNC ACC wins next year. Over, under, even is set at 12.
Yeah, I put under.
So we're all
Same reasons as above.
I forgot our picks. Steffan and Murray
I was
fucking
gonna
this up.
say, like,
Apparently, just doing our teams. Apparently,
Those are the only 2 UNC ones.
Yeah.
So it's all. No.
Steffan, do you think UNC is gonna make it to the Sweet 16?
I got them making the Sweet 16. That's it. Though.
So you're going even?
I'm going even.
I'm going under as well, Corey. I believe in you. And then with the wins, I'm gonna go under as well. 12 seems really high for a UNC team next year. To me,
Yeah, next year in a division in a conference is going to be dominated by Duke.
Yeah, we only playing Duke twice.
2 losses.
So you beat Syracuse, you beat Boston College.
Probably lose to the regular season Kings, Virginia.
All right, let's talk about Gonzaga. Unless you think any differently, Steffan, about the finishing under.
I actually put over. I'm now listening to them not having 3 of their starters. I think it's fair to say under.
I think I could be in for a rough season next season.
He's done with college basketball for a year.
Now you got to take the ups with the downs.
You still want to go to that Gonzaga UNC game?
At first, I didn't think it was going to be close, but when I started thinking about everything we're losing, I'm like, fuck. I'm really going to go with Steffan, and he's going to win. I'm going to have to fucking hear about it. Because I know I was like studying all 3 of our teams for this over-under crap. I was like, shit, Gonzaga's going to have a really solid team.
As long as they'll come back.
That's what I mean.
It's going to be a long trip
If
home.
If they stay...
None of them are projected in the first
I'm not
round,
like...
so.
Right, I'm not projecting any of them to leave, so as I was like writing it all down, I'm like, holy shit. We're probably going to get spanked.
Corey, just remember, too, that it's a long drive back to Syracuse.
I know. I might have to fly.
Here's the keys.
Nah, I'm flying. I'm out.
Wow.
You can drive home by yourself.
I'll see you when you get back. All right, let's talk Gonzaga. They lost in the Sweet 16 this year. So the bar has been set. Are they going to finish there next year? Over, under, or even, Steffan?
I've got over. I think that having a healthy roster, they've got 3 other 5 starters coming back. And I could see Zach Norvell slipping right into a starting position next year. Perfectly fine. And Rui also slipping in as a starter because he didn't start this year. It was Jonathan Williams and Tilly. So, yeah. So I don't think that they really lose.
Tilly.
Tilly.
Tilly. Wish you played the last game. maybe the result would have been different. But yeah, so I mean, as long as those, well, I know Norvell's coming back. As long as Tilly and Rui come back, I see a nice deep run going. Perkins.
It's always great to keep a seasoned guard who has experience and a good one.
And we got some other international player coming in. I don't know where the hell he's coming from, but he's like number 60 something overall.
Speaking of international players, LiAngelo Ball declared for the NBA draft. Surprise, surprise.
I think this surprised everybody, including the NBA owners. Who? What? Wait. Are we missing something? Where is the under draft board?
You can declare every year.
I'm going to announce it here. I'm also going to declare for the NBA draft.
Gives everyone hope.
Look forward to seeing you on the Sixers next year, Steffan.
Yeah.
Part of the process.
Part of the process.
They love drafting 32-year-olds.
32-year-olds who don't shoot as well as they used to and can't jump, barely run.
Sounds promising.
Process.
Saving the scouts some information that they don't have to look up now.
Yeah, maybe you could be their Gonzaga insider. You really need to draft this guy.
I'll just watch the Gonzaga players.
All right, Corey, where do you think they're going to finish?
I have them over. Like I said, I was doing the research. I was really impressed where Gonzaga could be next year.
This was realistically supposed to be like a rebuilding year for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they played well.
Yeah, and not to cut them off, but I was impressed by Norvell, however you pronounce it. So having him again next year, and then he let me know that Perkins wasn't leaving because I wasn't sure. He's good enough. I wasn't sure if he would think about it. Rui, I knew had interest. Rui's amazing. He could leave, but I project him as staying if he stays, along with Tilly, along with a nice recruit coming in. Gonzaga now has talent, experience, and a conference. I guess we'll talk about it if they stay in, that they could dominate, and they might get a decent road into the tournament as long as they don't mess up like Virginia. They could go far.
It's my turn.
Yes.
To make Steffan extremely angry because they are no, I'm not gonna say under. I'm gonna say even though. I don't know.
Just because you want to be an asshole.
Yeah, I don't want to make an Elite Eight. No Elite Eight for Gonzaga again.
Okay, we like to prove the haters wrong.
Yeah, well, they didn't do a good job this year. So let's move on. Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference next season. 50% chance, so basically there's no even here. It's either over or under.
I am going to say, by what I've been reading, that this is under. I think they're going to be in Mountain West.
I went over. I don't know as much as Steffan, so he might deter me, but I'm gonna stick with it. I guess I'm gonna go over.
I'm going under as well. I think Mountain West, well, not much of a step. It's a step in the right direction for them to be playing better opponents.
Honestly, it's realistically the only option they have.
It's more money for them. I feel the Mountain West will invest more in their teams than what the West Coast Conference does, and they'll be playing in front of more people as well, not the high school gyms.
I mean, obviously, best case scenario would be them getting in the Pac-12, but without football, they'll never be in the Pac-12. And I mean, the Big 12 is probably the stretch of another, but I feel like without football, you're not getting in the Big 12 either. And then realistically, what is it? The Big East. But location-wise, just doesn't work unless they ended up making up like a East and Western Conference in the Big East,
or the American Conference.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the American,
or even the American, yeah.
But still, those teams are still mostly East
Right.
Coast and Midwest teams.
Yeah, Texas.
So, Mountain West, I'll take it. It's a step up from the WCC. I think reading about it, WCC was ranked 14th based on RPI, where Mountain West was 9th. So, it's a little step up. The WCC did make some changes to try to, it looks like, to kind of lure, or not so much lure, but retain Gonzaga.
Does Gonzaga have to decide this year what they're doing?
They don't have to, but if they want to do what Wichita State did and move conferences for the following season, which is what they're looking to do, they've got to do it within the next few weeks. So,
just to give you some kind of idea of what competition they'd see in Mountain West, you're talking about Nevada, Boise State, New Mexico, Fresno State, San Diego State, Wyoming, UNLV, Utah State, Air Force, Colorado State, and San Jose State. So,
and they were talking about bringing in another team as well with Gonzaga. So,
BYU.
There's talks of BYU.
I could
coming
see
in
BYU.
as well. BYU is currently independent in football.
They used to be part of the Mountain West.
Yeah, they used to be part of the Mountain West, and they thought that they could make more money on their own or leverage it into getting into another conference, and their football program kind of fell off from where it was when they left. So going back to the Mountain West might not be a bad idea for them. But as far as, like you were saying, all those teams, I mean, I think that the Mountain West was kind of a down year for them.
I mean, if you look at some of those
Nevada
names,
had a great year. I'm not.
And made a good run in the tournament.
Yeah.
And San Diego State had some good wins. They beat Gonzaga this year, and then they won the conference tournament to get in. They even challenged whoever they were playing there. Houston.
Oh, yeah.
They challenged Houston. So, I mean, they have a good team. They usually have a good team. Then Boise State had a good team this year. I mean, New Mexico's usually solid. Colorado State's had some good years. So I definitely see more promise in that conference than I do where WCC literally has 3 teams, and outside of that, no team really has a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Mountain West only had 3 teams below 500, so overall.
Yeah. Although San Francisco in the WCC is playing for the championship of the CBI tournament. So, just saying. WCC ain't that bad. Playing North Texas, but
North Texas.
Yeah, all right. I didn't even know that tournament was still going on. I thought that was like a one and done tournament.
I know the Final Four of the NIT. That's all I know. Though.
Championship games, 2 of your favorite teams.
It's Mississippi State and Penn State.
Yeah.
The 2 teams that I wanted in the damn tournament.
I saw that the other night. I meant to text you, but it was kind of late, and I was like, I'll tell him later.
I knew Mississippi State and Penn State each had to play other teams, but I didn't know they won their games.
I saw that, and I was like, oh, two of Corey's favorite teams this year.
So Penn State beat Utah, and Mississippi State beat another decent team, actually. I didn't know the Final Four. Now I'm going to blank. I think it was Louisville.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Louisville.
Well, riding on that, Gonzaga, WCC wins next year.
Assuming they stay.
Pending Mountain West transfer. So maybe hash Mountain West.
Well, if it's hash Mountain West wins,
yeah, it totally changes it.
Then let's change the over/under.
Well, let's do WCC if Gonzaga's still in the WCC.
But actually, this has even got to change because they're only playing 16 conference games.
So over under 15.
So it's under. The over/under is now set at 15, so it means they only lose one game. I'm gonna go with the even, sitting right at 15.
Yeah, I agree. They usually slip up against St. Mary's or BYU at least once. So, this team is promising coming in.
I'm going over clean sweep.
I could see a clean sweep as well.
Yeah, but
I really think they want it next year. I think they would love to have a higher or lower seeding, whatever you want to call it. I say higher, but they consider it actually a lower seed.
Yeah.
So if they could get a lower seeding, I think they'd be happy with like a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah, I just always see Gonzaga having that one game in their conference to play, and I don't know. It's very hard to go perfect in your conference.
Even the year that they went to last year when they went to the championship, they made it all the way through the whole regular season. And the last regular season game, they lost to BYU at home, I think, too.
Senior night.
Well, we both know BYU and St. Mary's could give them an L.
Yeah.
At any moment.
All right. Well, it looks like Mountain West plays 18 conference games. When do you want to set the over/under, Steffan?
Going into a new conference, I'd almost set it the same.
15
with 18 games.
Yeah,
15-3. I mean, Nevada be a tough out.
Boise
the other
State.
teams don't have a lot though coming. Boise State was riding Chandler Hutchinson. He's gone. I don't think Boise State.
Actually, Nevada is going to be probably not as good because they're both Martin boys.
Yeah.
New Mexico wasn't too bad.
San Diego
this year.
State still could be good. They won the conference tournament. So I don't know what they have coming back.
Fresno State.
Yeah, I'm not that big on them. Colorado State sometimes is good.
Wyoming
is nothing. UNLV has tricky years. Sometimes they're good.
I'll leave it at 15.
I'm still going over. After just discussing in my mind what they're all losing, they aren't going to be that great of a conference next year.
But like you said, you don't know what they're bringing in.
You don't know.
You got transfers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Nevada got the Martin.
And like I said, there's wild cards. UNLV sometimes has a good program.
If BYU joins in.
Right. Yeah, true. So yeah, I'm going over anyways. 16-2.
I will say over. I think even. I'll say 3 losses.
I'm going to say even as well. I'm sticking with 15. I just see them at 15 for conference. It's hard to win a lot, especially in a new conference when you're unfamiliar with when you're unfamiliar with other opponents. So
On to your team, Kevin.
all right. Well, Syracuse next year, will they finish Sweet 16? I'm going over. Big year next year for them, as long as they have most of their starters return.
Under. I think you lose battle to the NBA, and I think that'll be a big hit.
You got Buddy Boeheim coming right back.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an under for me as well.
That didn't sell anybody.
All right. Well, if that's the case, players are leaving. Coming into this year, I recognize 2 names on the roster, so I put this one in. Names you'll recognize in the Syracuse starting 5. I put 4. And I'm going to go over because I recognize Buddy Boeheim. Actually, even. Because I know nothing about this star power forward that's coming in.
Darius Baisley.
Yeah.
Got him, I don't know if Buddy will start. Got Baisley, Chukwu, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, you're good.
Brissett.
Have faith in yourself.
You're losing Battle and Howard, so the question is, do I know those 2?
Not losing
Villains.
both. I don't see both leaving.
Well, Howard's not a senior?
No. No one was a senior.
Okay, then Buddy and Howard, so there's 5. I'm going over.
I'll say even. I think that somebody won't. Maybe Buddy Boeheim's not starting yet.
All right.
Awesome.
Syracuse ACC wins next year. Over, under, even 9. I'm going over. They're due for a good year in the ACC. It's been a while.
I think what we're getting here is that Kevin's a little high on this thing. It also might be a little high.
Well, it's like perfect because I feel like he's a little high on his team. I'm a little down on mine, and you're just even kill with Gonzaga.
I'm okay with Gonzaga just doing what they do.
That's why I'm going to go even. And I'm finally going to just say even. I think 9 is a good solid year if they can get 9.
This is the last year the ACC is doing 18 games. They're moving to a 20-game schedule in 2019. So, fun stat.
That's another reason that Gonzaga needs to get out of their conference because
If they
the
get,
chances
yeah.
of the chances of playing like good competition in your non-conference is getting less and less and less.
Mm-hmm.
So, with a lot of these conferences expanding to longer conference schedules, I'm going to say under. I don't think if they play the same offense that they played this year, their offense was horrendous. If you want to argue that, you can argue that till you run out of breath. But their offense was atrocious.
Yeah, which
Their
means
defense.
their guy that's coming in for shooting guard is going to help them.
Who? Buddy Boeheim?
No, there's another one. I can't remember his name.
No, you don't even know his name, so
Yeah.
he's not going to help them.
I don't know any of the names. I don't know their names until January, okay? I need to watch them a couple times.
I think Baisley will help your interior scoring, which will be huge.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, all you had was lobs to Chukwu.
Hopefully, Sabid, healthy Sabid is good news for Syracuse.
He's super raw, but he does have talent.
I think your main scorer is going to be Brissett.
Yeah, definitely. That kid's super talented. But
He's the one that everyone's
He needs
saying.
another year.
Yeah, but he's the one that everyone's saying is leaving.
That's because, like I just said, he's super. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. to see his
Potential-wise,
potential. Yeah.
You know he can play.
Yeah. You just have to watch one game and you can be like, that kid can play.
Canadian powers vested in me. Let them stay in Syracuse, New York for one more year. All right. Well, let's talk some tournament upsets next year. Mid-major teams in the Elite Eight next year. The over, under, or even is set at 1. How many did we have this year?
Nevada, Loyola.
3. Right?
That's it.
Just
Nevada
2?
was in the Elite Eight.
Oh, no, they were Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Loyola, then? That's it?
We
Gonzaga
have Kansas,
normally would've
Clemson,
had
Syracuse, Duke, Texas Tech, West Virginia, Purdue, Kansas State, Kentucky, Loyola, Nevada. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the
not
wrong
Elite
names.
8.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the Sweet 16 over here. You just said Clemson also, and I was like, no, they didn't make the Elite Eight.
So
It was
it's
Kansas,
1.
Duke, Villanova, Texas Tech,
So it was 1.
Michigan, Kansas State,
Loyola.
Loyola.
And, yeah.
Did you want to adjust that to Sweet 16 since apparently that's what you guys have your
No, because I
your
set
minds
that.
on?
No, I had it at Elite 8. I was thinking, all I said was Nevada. I lost that they had to beat Kansas State. I mean, they beat Nevada, but Kansas State to make it to the Final Four.
All right.
Anyways, I think. Well, since I said it, I obviously think it's even.
Well, I think it's going to be over.
You got 2 mid-majors out of 8, huh?
I think I'm going to throw Gonzaga in.
Yeah, I was going to say it is Gonzaga.
And then you think there's going to be a sneaky one?
And then there's going to be a sneaky one.
There's always that sneaky one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go under. No mid-major. Does Gonzaga really even count as a mid-major?
They do for now, yeah.
Even in the Mountain West, it's still
Yeah.
a mid-major. That's not a power conference.
Right, I know. They do.
Yeah, but you expect them to be there every year.
So then we might as
But
well
to
start.
your-
So
but
then
to
we
your
might as
point-
well start calling like Kansas State like a mid-major because you don't expect them to be there every year, even though they play in a power conference. Or
Still
Texas
going
Tech
under.
making their first ever Elite Eight.
Still
Are
going
they
under.
not a mid-major?
Still going under.
Well, I'm just trying to set the standard here. What's the standard of a mid-major?
Gonzaga-
What about number one
Gonzaga's the
seeds losing
exception.
in the opening round?
How is this even a question? There's no way.
It happens 2 years in a row,
No way.
and there's no way to lose.
There's absolutely no way.
I went under.
Surprise.
Going even.
I thought he might.
Jesus Christ.
He says they're setting the trend.
Oh.
Gonzaga, the first number 1 seed to
Then you
lose.
get the 1 seed and choke it.
The only thing, I don't give a fuck about anything anymore. I don't care if Gonzaga loses every single time they get in as a 1 seed from now on. They weren't the first one. That's the only thing that matters to me.
Yeah, 'cause
Every
no-
time they'd get in as a 1 seed, and I would just fucking be sweating it out every time. Because I'm like, swear to God, if we're the first one, I'll never live this down. Never. Thank God Virginia took care of that for me.
They took the L for it.
took that pressure off your back.
That would have been the worst.
So, judging by Steffan, I guess he's going under.
I'm going well under.
Only
Might be a solid.
only go so under.
Yeah.
Might be a solid 130, 160. I don't even know how many games it was.
Oh, until it happens
Yeah.
again.
What were they? 130.
Does it happen within the next 10 years?
I say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Another one going down?
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
I should have set that.
Yeah.
It's
The
the
way-
over-under.
How many?
The way
years?
the rules are right now, I can see it happening again. All seriousness, I see it happening just
I
because
do
it's
think
so
we're going to
much
start to see it more
disparity.
frequently. I don't think 16s are coming in scared anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we almost had 2 this year with Penn.
I don't know. Well, and we all agree Penn shouldn't have even been a 16. But, yeah.
Well, that leads us to our next topic. Something we're bringing back. Dug deep for this one. As soon as I find it, apparently. I didn't. I gotta keep digging a little bit here. It's time for Steffan's super secret awesome top 5. Except that wasn't Steffan's. All right, top 5 Cinderella stories of NCAA basketball. Our personal top 5s.
Are we doing round robin or just flying through it?
I say round robin, but I would like to mention I do have an honorable mention. I don't know if you guys do.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll throw in an honorable mention too.
Okay. My honorable mention is 2013's Wichita State team when they made it all the way to the Final Four. I even forgot to write down their seed, but they just
Number
weren't
9.
expected. There we go. See? Hey. There you go.
Because they made some people's top 5. No honorable mention needed.
Honorable mention.
So, honorable mention round.
Want me to go?
Sure.
I'll do the Florida Gulf Coast 15 over 2, making it Sweet 16. I actually wanted to put them in my top 5, but The other teams I had in there I like better. That was an exciting team to watch, and I just remember it being it was just exciting. They were an exciting team. Lob City, weren't they called?
Dunk City.
Dunk City. Lob City's Clippers.
Yeah. My honorable mention is the 2010 Butler team. They were a 7 seed, and it was the first time they made it all the way to the final, and they lost to Duke. It's my honorable mention.
All right, well, that's a perfect lead into my number 5. I have at 5 the 2010 and the 2011 Butler teams because they made it to 2 championship games, only to fall short. I mean, the only other team lately to go back-to-back championship games is North Carolina. However, they had a better outcome. Butler, not expected out of a mid-major at the time. Now, I don't know where we put Big East play, but we tend to respect the Big East a little more than where they came from. That's why they're my number 5.
I have the 2011 Butler team. That's my number 5. Who did they even lose to that year?
That
UConn.
team.
With Kemba?
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough.
But it made for a really exciting championship because you had a number 8 seed versus a number 7 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the like lowest seeded championship game?
Yes.
That's what I got.
I went with Valparaiso at number 5. I'll always remember the Bryce Drew shot that went in. And they beat Ole Miss. They were a number 13 seed. They made it to the Sweet 16 in 1998. It's probably around the first time I started to really pay attention to college basketball. That's why I think it remembers. It sticks in my head, I remember. I was 13 at that time, so I was starting to actually really get into basketball. He was also coached by his dad, so there was also like that whole dynamic. And his brother was an assistant coach. So it was like the Drew pack.
Yeah, he was like falling down, shooting that 3.
Yes.
Too. Mm-hmm.
And now he's we go, 20 years later, he is the coach of Valparaiso.
Shooting.
You know what's crazy is how like seldom 13 seeds were winning back then, and now it's like, what, 2 of them won this 2? Or
that's why I think, to Kevin's point, not that I think it'll happen next year, but a 16 winning, I don't know if it's that far.
Uh-oh. We lost them at a terrible time. Oh, you guys are back. All right, cool.
We lost you.
All right.
Number 4, Kevin.
Number 4. All right, on to you guys. That whisper was the 1999 Gonzaga Bulldogs, 10 seed at the time, made it all the way to the Elite 8. The first of many runs for one Mr. Few. And it was when I started to really get into the NCAA tournament. And it was back when I actually liked Gonzaga for a little while until I met Steffan like 10 years later. My number 4, Gonzaga, 1999, 10 seed.
My number 4 is going to be that Wichita State team, 9 seed, 2013, making it to the Final Four. Knocked off a number 1 seed Gonzaga along the way. It's one of many times that Gonzaga lost to an eventual Final Four team early on. It's also fuels my hatred for Wichita State. and why I pick against them.
Which is very
all
strong.
the time.
For my number 4, I have that Butler team that went in 2011. The only thing we didn't mention is to get to that championship, they had to beat Bo Ryan's Wisconsin team, who we know was under his realm. They were always good. And then also Florida, coached by Billy Donovan, to get there as well. So that was an impressive run. They ran into the hottest team I've ever seen going into a tournament. I've never seen anything like it. I still can't.
Well, they went 4 or 5 games in the Big East.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
they were one of the lowest seeds.
Yeah.
And they just ripped Kemba and Napier.
To win the Big East tournament back
Yeah.
then and only get a 7 seed, like, you weren't having a good season.
No.
No.
That's what I mean. Like, I've never seen just 2 players get that hot with Shabazz, Napier. Everyone remembers Kemba, but Shabazz was just as on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And those 2 just ran. And it's just crazy. That is a debatable. I was thinking, why isn't that considered a Cinderella story? Is it because UConn was such a dominant force back then?
Because they play in a major conference, I think.
Oh, UConn, you're saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But if you going by that article, there was like Kansas as a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Also, hadn't
Villanova.
UConn already won a national championship too?
Yes, they had already won at that point. Yes,
I think maybe that has something to do with it. I
they
don't
won
know.
in 04, the year right after Syracuse.
Which leads me to my third one, 2003 Syracuse. No, the 2011 11-seeded VCU from First Four to Final Four. Very first year they had these playing games, and then they went all the way to the Final Four.
You have them at number 3?
Yep.
Wow, I'm excited to see what you got at 1 and 2. What's better than that?
Well, right now my top 5 keeps floating.
Okay.
But I'm running out of options to switch with, so it's going to get interesting here with these last 2.
I'm going with my number 3 is George Mason. 2006, 11 seed. Run to the Final Four. One of those teams that nobody ever really hears about and probably hasn't really heard about since then. I don't even know who was on their team to carry them to the Final Four, but they got there somehow.
Nobody of note.
Neither George nor Mason were on the team.
No. I went number 3, that Florida Gulf Coast team, just because of the excitement. With how they were winning, all the dunks and the athleticism, it was crazy to see a mid-major that had athletes like that. Because a lot of time they don't get those kind of players. They're more like fundamentally sound players and system players. So they were a 15 seed and made it to the Sweet 16. But they beat a team that normally chokes in the tournament, which is Georgetown. So I don't know how much credit you can give them for that. But they did go on to beat a San Diego State team that at that time was really hot. They had just lost Kawhi Leonard to the draft, but then they were still expected to have a good season that year and lost.
Number 2 for me is that 2013 15-seeded Florida Gulf Coast. Any team that beats Georgetown, automatic bump right there. And they just seem to be having fun during that tournament. In their 3 games, they were very different tone team compared to teams in that tournament. I don't know. I just like the vibe they were giving off during their games.
I feel like they were kind of like the start of like the 15s, like really like taking over and like starting to like win almost consistently. Although we didn't have any 15s this year, but
The last 15 was probably when Michigan State lost to Middle Tennessee.
yeah,
Mhm.
what was that, like 2 years
3 years ago, I think.
2.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because last year Syracuse wasn't in. The
Yeah.
year before was when they.
But see, you guys like
That's how I
Syracuse
remember
if
it.
you're
So
using that
three
as
tournaments
counting
ago.
points.
3 tournaments ago.
Okay.
My number 2 will be a 1 Davidson. 10 seed. 2008. Made it to Elite 8. You got the man, the myth, the legend, Steph Curry, who just was unreal. I don't even know how many points he put up, but it was a ridiculous amount.
So what do you have to say to the 6 teams that took players in the draft above him? Maybe even 9 teams, actually. I think he went 10th.
I thought the same thing as them, that he couldn't translate that to the NBA. But clearly he proved everybody and myself wrong. He clearly could translate it and go.
Apparently totally changed your opinion on those kind of players because you're all about Young now.
Oh, I love you.
Right. So you think he'll have the same success. Not that level necessarily, but you think he'll be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be successful. Not if he ends up on the Knicks like I saw projected, but
they could use it. All right, my number 2 is Steffan's favorite Wichita State team. I mostly have it because they were seeded so low and they went on to beat the 1 seed and the 2 seed. The 2 seed being Ohio State at that time. So they didn't have it easy. They deserved their spot.
Hold on, I'm doing a quick fact check here.
When did Steph Curry get drafted?
No. Oh, yeah. Cool. Sweet. All right. So my number 1 is a team that not only beat Georgetown, they beat Gonzaga as well. This 2008 Davidson team. And Stephen Curry business. I just remember, for some reason, when I think Cinderella stories, his image and his youthful face and his red jersey just sticks out in my mind. And that's why I have him as my number 1. Just because anytime I think of Cinderella stories, it's the Valpo kid but the first image is Steph Curry. So that's my number 1. And
my number 1 is that VCU team. It's the youngest coach ever to make it to the Final Four at 33 years old. So I couldn't imagine myself, because I will be 33 this year, coaching a team into the Final Four.
God, I'm the youngest of us? Jesus.
You didn't know that already?
No. I didn't,
not only that,
I didn't know Corey's age.
They had to be 5 major conference teams. They had to play in against USC. They had to beat your Georgetown team that you love. They had to go on and then beat Purdue. Then they had to beat Florida State. And then they had to beat Kansas just to get there. Crazy.
And then lose to who?
Then lose to Butler? Who beat them? UConn? UConn.
Yeah, that'd
UConn. Which, the hottest team I said I've ever seen, so if that's who they lost to.
Tough loss.
Sucks, man. That would be crazy. That's a year where 2 mid-majors made the Final Four. Butler and VCU.
I feel like, though, that year that George Mason went, 2006.
There was also another one?
All right, so actually, Butler beat VCU 70-62.
Okay.
And Connecticut beat Kentucky 56-55. Then you said what, 2006?
Yeah, he's looking it up.
Maybe.
2007, 2006.
Semis.
LSU, Georgia,
Wow.
no, maybe not. UCLA and Florida.
Yeah. LSU? What the hell?
Yeah.
Is that Tyus Thomas team?
Yeah, probably. When's the last time they've been relevant?
Since Tyus Thomas and Glenn Big Baby Davis, they were their dynamic duo.
This was the year none of the 1 seeds advanced to the Final Four.
It was an at-large bid.
Is that the year Florida won their second one?
First title, second title game. That was their first title, so they must have won that year in 2007. Also.
Interesting.
Well, my number 1 going to be when it all began. this is what I think of when I think of Cinderella, as Gonzaga, 10 seed. Nobody knew who they were. I sure as hell didn't know who they were. This is probably my earliest memory of watching college basketball.
So right around the same time
Yeah.
as me.
Like I've seen the highlights of the Valparaiso, but I don't like really remember watching that. But I remember watching Gonzaga make this run to Elite Eight. That was when my love for them started, and they backed it up, year after year, and just built on that. But
that's your memory, probably the most vivid memory of a Cinderella story.
yeah, I think it's just because it was at that point just a bunch of white boys,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just nobody knew who they were. I mean, I couldn't even probably name a single.
Outside of John Stockton going there.
But I didn't.
I know
at the
you
time,
didn't.
I didn't even know John Stockton had gone there.
I know. I was just saying, probably other than John Stockton playing for them, most people didn't know who
Right.
they were.
And just for them to turn that Cinderella story into what they are now, I think that's what every Cinderella team hopes to do, and not many do. A lot of them just fade off into the sunset.
I think we've only seen two schools continue success otherwise, and that's Wichita State and Butler since.
Yeah.
I mean, you might see more and more be able to do it, but Gonzaga, I agree, set like the precedent for doing it,
Mhm.
and Wichita and Butler have managed to copy it.
Wichita's still kind of, I think they're still kind of at a point where they're in a conference now where I think they can sustain it. I think if they had stayed in the Missouri Valley, they might have fallen off at some point, but I think the conference they're in now, they can sustain themselves as a title, as a power team.
Butler's is probably more impressive because they lost Brad Stevens, and I honestly thought once that happened, we wouldn't hear about Butler.
Yeah, I think if Mark Few was ever to leave or obviously retire someday, that'll definitely change Gonzaga.
Maybe you'll find the fountain of youth and live forever.
Maybe he's not that old. Got some years left.
So what do you think?
Sorry, I got distracted with other stats about the tournament. Well, I kind of figured that was going to be Steffan's Gonzaga. It appears that we got interested in college basketball around the same time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's pretty interesting top 5 to find this out on. But I did find some interesting stats on how far the seeds have gone. And apparently the highest number seed, can you guys guess to make it past the Sweet 16?
To pass the Sweet 16?
Mm-hmm. Highest seed.
13.
7.
12.
You are right. One, Missouri back in 2002 made it to the Elite Eight as a 12 seed. And then you have LSU, George Mason, VCU, and Loyola Chicago are the only teams as an 11 seed to make it to the Final Four. And then, of course, you have Syracuse as the only 10 seed. And
What's the highest seed ever make the championship?
Villanova at 8.
Well, they won it. Yeah,
That was one of the Cinderella stories.
Yep.
As an 8?
As
Yep.
an 8. That's the lowest seed to ever win.
Whichever one is an 8. So if Loyola could do it this year, they would break.
Yeah. No team 9 or lower has ever won.
Huh. This one's interesting, though. Connecticut is the only 7 seed to win the national championship and to make the Final Four.
7 seeds do not have good luck.
Oh, excuse me. Make the championship game, I should say. There we go.
Fuck you, Kevin.
I was looking at the stat wrong.
Making me make false statements.
So they're the only 7 seed to ever make the championship.
Yep.
So 7
And
seeds have hard roads. Remember that.
Michigan State and South Carolina are the only other 2 schools to make the Final Four. And that was just recently.
I I feel like 7 seeds do have a heart because I mean you're basically playing almost like an 8-9 game.
Yep. And then you
You
play
know.
against the 2.
And then you got to play the number 2 seed after that. And then after that, you're playing the 3 seed, more than likely.
And then the 1.
And then the 1.
Or 4. You get 1 or 4.
So basically, good luck.
Yeah. Basically, you're fucked.
But unless you're UConn, because you're just fucking on fire.
Kemba.
But to that stat you said earlier about how 15 seeds were always winning, Middle Tennessee State won it in 2016, and then Florida Gulf Coast was the next one in 2013.
So we were right. The last team to do it was Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Lehigh, Norfolk won in 2012, and then there's a giant gap, 2001 with Hampton, Coppin State at 97, Santa Clara in 93, and then we all remember the Richmond Spiders beating Syracuse as the
first ever 15 seed.
What's crazy is there's been some mid-majors to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, Loyola, Chicago. I don't know how many more, but there's been some.
Those were back in the days, though, when it was a little more fair, I feel like. Now I don't see it
Was
as
it
being
fair,
as
though?
fair. Well, I mean, San Francisco was getting players like who?
Bill Russell.
Yeah.
But Kansas had Wilt Chamberlain. It's not like they didn't have ballers.
I'm just saying. Everybody had a chance at a fucking Hall of Fame player back then. Now only the top teams that fucking can pay $100,000 for the players have a chance at them. Just saying.
Looking, and I think the only school that I would consider a mid-major, the last one to win it, is UNLV back in 1990 over Duke.
Yeah, do you know who was on that team?
Mm-hmm.
Jay Billis.
Larry Johnson.
Ah.
Larry
Other team.
Johnson, Greg Anthony, and Stacey Ogman.
UNLV, that was probably their stretch where they had like a little dynasty going.
They did, because Larry Johnson, back then players stayed 4
Yeah.
years. So those 4 players, Stacey Ogman was actually the superstar. And in the pros, Larry Johnson obviously became the superstar. And he led I shouldn't say he led, but he was a huge piece of the New York Knicks being an 8 seed and making it all the way to the championship. The last 8 seed that was able to do that in the NBA.
Huh. I never realized Holy Cross has a national championship.
Yeah, they do. That's another one.
And Wyoming. What the
Well, like you said,
They beat
you're going to see some
Georgetown.
weird schools probably back in the day.
Yeah.
CCNY. That one. It's interesting. LaSalle.
Yep, LaSalle had a little run.
Houston, right? Don't they have one?
Somewhere in there,
Right.
yeah.
Doesn't Princeton have one somewhere in there?
No. No.
No.
Does Houston have one, Kevin?
No.
What about Penn?
What? No. Utah.
Yeah. Well, Utah had Andre Miller and Keith Van Horn when they won.
Oh, I was talking about back in 1944. I'm looking down below.
Oh, Utah did another one.
San Francisco twice. Cincinnati twice.
Yeah. Well, they had Oscar Robertson.
And then UCLA made a run.
UCLA made a big run.
Yeah. When UCLA had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and then Bill Walton back to back, just rattled them off.
City College of New York. That's the most oddball one. A Cooney school. So there you go. Stump some people. Have fun with that knowledge, folks. All right. Let's move on to something else other than college basketball. Let's talk about NBA basketball. Are you guys ready for your segment?
I thought you were leading off this one.
Oh,
Yeah, you've been doing so good with the NBA lately, Kevin.
now
Now that he's back, you're pulling the reels.
I thought I was taking a break, but I'll talk about my Sixers. They clinched even though they weren't playing this past weekend. Right now they're sitting in as a 4 seed, right?
Yep.
I didn't check the NBA stats.
I just
Standings.
updated it before our podcast. They clinched. They are the 4 seed.
Booyah!
They actually have a chance to move up.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Cleveland. Fultz played some action. 15 minutes, scored 8 points, or did I get that
10
flipped?
points, 8 rebounds, and how many?
10 points, 8 assists.
It was said 10, 8, and 5. I assumed the 8 was the rebounds.
No, it was 8 assists.
Oh, okay. 5 boards.
So it's good that they get to have him practice before the playoffs and not worry about hurting the team.
He got a standing O as he was out there, and then he got a standing O when he sat down for the game. The fans were uber excited.
Hashtag trust the process. I need to get some Sixers stuff now that they're good
I
again.
think seeing a healthy Fultz kind of kills the rumors that Trae Young might be drafted by Philly, because what do they need him for?
But does it kill the LeBron rumors?
Probably ramps them up.
Hashtag.
But Cleveland is on a 5-game win streak now and seems to have their shit together. So I don't know what's going on with Cleveland. I can't predict.
How about
what
these
they are.
Philly teams, mind you? You got Villanova in the Final Four. You've got Philadelphia in the NBA playoffs for the first time. You know, the Eagles win a Super Bowl. What's going on in Philadelphia? What kind of water are they drinking?
Does that mean that the Phillies are going to win the World Series?
They've done that, though.
Yeah. Okay, well, Philadelphia
The
Sixers
76ers have won.
have made the playoffs before.
What about the
Oh, yeah.
Flyers? You got hockey.
Yeah.
We got to get ready for that bracketology.
Can't wait.
That's my favorite segment. To hear how Penguins can beat up Ducks and move on.
You know what? Let's do a fucking bracket for that. We'll see who
Next year?
scores the best
Or for hockey.
for hockey.
Okay.
We did
I
last
thought you
year.
meant for like the NCAA tournament.
Did we actually
next
keep
year.
track of the scores?
Yeah, I have it
Yeah,
back in the
okay.
record books. You guys can keep talking. I'll look it up while you're talking.
I think the big shocker is the movement of Philadelphia moving up to that 4 seed. And the underperforming again of Milwaukee. They should be better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Giannis hits superstardom until he can get his team.
I had said that, though. I don't think he's good. He's super talented. I would never pick him to lead my team.
Right. Agreed.
He's probably more talented than anyone on Philly. And look where they're at.
No, he's definitely more talented
Than Embiid. I could see someone trying to argue that Embiid's more talented. That's why I said he's more talented than Simmons.
Boston, I don't like their chances at this point.
You did at the beginning of the year. You're falling off.
A lot of injuries right now.
And Kyrie's got that surgery.
Kyrie's out 3 to 6
6.
weeks. There's a lot of people have been going down. Who else got hurt? Jaylen Brown got hurt for a little bit. I think he came back, though. He just came back. Marcus Morris, I saw, was just hurt. Is Marcus Smart still out?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't even know either.
I see.
But regardless, like, Terry Rozier's been balling out, so
Yeah.
Marcus Smart's probably seen his last chance in Boston.
I see Toronto with a nice size lead, at least over Cleveland. But for some reason, I never trust Toronto in the playoffs. Like, I just don't think they have any chance to make it out of the East and go to the championship. I'd rather pick Boston, Cleveland, or even Philly to beat them.
I mean, without Kyrie, I don't know if Boston makes it past Milwaukee.
I mean, it's getting old and redundant, but it's LeBron's to lose again, as always. There's enough around him to win.
Honestly, like I don't even think I'm really worried about this year. I want to see Hayward come back for next year.
As a Boston fan.
Kyrie healthy.
Well, if we're going to talk about our teams, let's talk about the epic failing of mine. So Minnesota, who hovered around a 4th seed all year, is dropped down to 8th and in danger of falling just straight out of the playoffs.
Danger.
Butler missing a few weeks.
Is he back now?
Yeah.
Oh.
They just couldn't even win a game. They couldn't even win.
Yeah. I know they were playing really well with him.
Yeah.
And then he went down I wasn't sure how long he was down for, or if he was still down or what.
Houston, unreal. They already hit 60.
Who's one of the hottest teams in the West, though?
Portland.
Yeah.
On fire. All the way up to the 3 seed.
Portland came out of nowhere. I
Loved the
that.
feistiness between them and Oklahoma City the other night.
Yeah.
Did you catch that, Kevin?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit of shoving.
Yeah, a little push, shove.
Russell I'll be the first to admit, he's not my favorite player. I think he's a dickhead. He's feisty for no reason.
He dresses terribly.
I think it's
he
part
causes that's I think a lot of fans love infatuation with him, but he causes drama for no reason. Someone was just trying to kind of push him out of the way to pick up their player, and he throws his elbow don't touch me. It's dude, calm down.
How dare you?
At the same
dress with
time, though, I
greatness.
think that's what makes him as great of a player. He just always has a chip on his shoulder.
He's the angriest player I've ever seen.
He is never happy.
No.
I think he spends 95% of his life just being angry. The fucking wind's blowing? What the fuck? Get off me!
Stupid chalk dust, get away!
He's never happy on anything.
I knew something was going to happen because there's already bad blood between him and Lillard.
Yeah.
And Lillard hit it ultimately ended up being the game winner.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. New Orleans, props to Anthony Davis. Cousins went down mid-season, and I wasn't sure where New Orleans would be. And he's balling and keeping them afloat. He's in the running for MVP, just behind James Harden and LeBron. That MVP race supposedly is tight. I don't really see how you could give it to anyone but James Harden. San Antonio.
Golden State, without Steph Curry,
Pass
for
the first round.
more than likely.
Yeah. Can Utah beat them? Can Donovan Mitchell, a rookie who is leading his team, lead them past Golden State?
I think Golden State's just too experienced.
I do too.
The rest of the team, even without Steph.
Even without Steph, they have freaking Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson.
I don't.
There's too much there.
Who do you think's gonna
As
win?
long as he comes back for the second round, I think they're fine. Steph.
Yeah.
All right,
think
who do you
if he
guys
wasn't
think's gonna win Rookie of the Year? Ben Simmons or the Utah kid?
Or Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah. The rumblings in the NBA are they're leaning towards Donovan, but I personally find it for Ben Simmons to come out and get 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists his first year. Only Magic and Oscar have done that. That's crazy. That's super Hall of Famers that have done that. To me, that's really impressive. Philly's in fourth. I know the West is a harder conference, but I go with Ben.
My guy from Michigan is not in the running.
Either is mine. I picked Dennis Smith Jr. Dallas is in 13th and he eliminated.
I don't even remember who I picked.
You picked Jason Tatum.
Oh, all right.
Solid pick.
Solid pick. I think he's in fourth or fifth on most charts.
I think I would like to see Donovan Mitchell, but I think it's going to be Ben Simmons.
You think he deserves it for putting the whole team on his back?
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
I like his style better.
He's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Good shooter, too. That's all we got on the NBA, I think.
All right. Well, with that, I guess it's time to show my dominance in NASCAR knowledge. Corey's NASCAR minute. Hold on. I wasn't ready for you guys to be done yet.
Oh, you want me to talk more about NBA?
No. It's time for Corey's NASCAR update.
So, Martinsville finally got around to it on Monday
After a
at
snow
2
day.
p.m. after the snow day, first time since 1993. Race has been canceled due to snow because NASCAR tries to keep up with where the warmth is. Clint Boyer won the race, but it was a nail biter. He had to beat Kyle Busch in the last few laps. I should probably start listening to my projections as who I think is going to win the races, because I told you I thought Truex Jr. would win. Even though you had the picks on him, I couldn't take him. And he did win.
No, he had Logano.
Yeah.
No, the week before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, in California, I said Truex Jr. would win, but I didn't have an opportunity to take him.
Yeah.
And then this past week, I said Kyle Busch would win. And second place would have been a lot better than 30th.
So now you don't have to worry about picking off.
So some people questioning my expertise, I actually do know who's going to race well. I just totally choose to go way against the grain and just pick someone who's not going to win the race. That's why I'm not too worried, because I feel like when I get to good drivers, I'll be okay. But
if you're not,
if I'm not too far behind,
if your hole's not too deep,
as you were last year.
Yeah.
Already 100 and what? 13 points behind?
Yeah, I'm
no big deal.
More than 100 behind you. I'm a little less than 100 behind him. Which there's still a shitload of races left.
Is there?
Yeah, I think we only raced 6, so there's 20 left. And if you can fall behind 106, you can make up 106.
Can you?
Yeah. What was I going to say? Texas isn't until 2 weekends from now. Texas is a fast race. It's a 1.5 miles. My official prediction on this for who will win, I think Kyle Busch is racing really hot right now. So I expect Kyle Busch to win Texas. And my sleeper pick would be Kyle Larson, because he's about due. And he's been racing better as of late. But having said all that, I won't take either one of those two guys. Not that I have the first pick anyways. But that's who I'm saying will have an opportunity to win that race.
All right, Steffan, I'll take Kyle. You can have whoever you just said. Second. Larson.
Okay, I already used Kyle Busch anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I knew one of us had already taken him. I just couldn't remember who. Well, there you go. But as I said earlier, it's time for Major League Baseball to start. Last year we made picks. Corey had one of them, right? He had the Dodgers. Oh.
Who knew with the Astros?
Actually, I have the sheet still, too. So, with the opening day being on Thursday this year, the Yankees have the 7th highest payroll in Major League Baseball. What do you guys think of that?
Is that surprising because they're normally number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that they would, especially with the big trade or signing. I don't know which one it was, but
signing.
One Mr. Giancarlo Stanton.
I like to still call him Mike. I know he went back to his real name, but I like to call him Mike Stanton. That's what he started out as.
Miguel. All right, well, I have our...
I think it's stupid.
Does that mean that they have not spent a lot of money on pitchers?
I was just going to say, that's why I think it's stupid. They have this money to spend. They should spend it on pitching.
Actually, I think they're saving for this coming free agency. CC Sabathia actually took a $15 million pay cut. He was supposed to make $25 million. He's only making $10 this year. They made a couple interesting moves.
So
yeah,
he's been playing awful.
So a lot of people believe it's just
contracts work out.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the end of your contract, you don't even deserve that money anymore.
Right.
Not to mention they won't have to pay the 50% luxury tax on having such a high salary cap. Do you guys want to take a guess at who's got the highest?
I already know.
Well, LA's had it the last 4 years. The Dodgers.
Yeah, I think.
So I'll let you take a guess.
The Nationals?
Nope. It is the Boston Red Sox. So, money has been spent. Does that translate to World Series wins? We're about to tell you.
Because I picked Boston. I think I picked Boston Dodgers last year.
You are correct, sir. And Steffan picked Red Sox Nationals, and I picked Blue Jays Cubs.
The odds makers have the Dodgers 1, and the Astros 2, and the Cubs 3 for chances to win the World Series. I went with one of those teams. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. All right. Well, I'll give you my predictions. Houston won the World Series last year. I don't see that stopping. They have a great team. They have a young team. They kept most of their players from last year, and I think they're going to repeat as World Series champions as well.
Wow. Hard to do in baseball.
Bold statement.
Bold statement. As long as they stay healthy, I think they will. Actually planning on going to watch them play April 19th here in Seattle, so that'll be fun. I got to watch them last year. Maybe I get to see them again. Maybe that's a cue for them to win another World Series. We'll find out. Who they face? It's a newcomer. I'm taking Steffan's pick from last year, Washington Nationals. And there you have it. 2018 World Series. Save yourself some time. 162 games. You don't have to watch.
I'll go second. I picked the LA Dodgers to get there again. And I picked their foe to be the Smash Bros. And the New York Yankees.
The New York Yankees.
The New York Yankees. I think now that you're going to have to pitch the New York Yankees. You're going to have to pitch to Castro, Judge, or Stanton. You can't walk all three.
You don't think
they are going to be high-powered offense?
You don't think Father Time's catching up to him?
No.
Judge? They're talking about
which one? Stanton just hit 50.
They were talking about Judge being the leadoff hitter.
I heard there's stats like. Did you ever see Moneyball? There's stats that prove to have your home run hitter be your leadoff hitter is more advantageous to your starting
lineup. He gets
lineup.
the most hits. I mean, he gets the most chances at bat. So why wouldn't you want him?
Right, but no one does it. They still put him fourth.
Yeah. Probably because they want to capitalize on those.
Just in case.
they're hoping to get three people on base and you get that. Yeah.
But the Moneyball stats actually prove it is advantageous to have him first. But people don't do that.
I mean, when you got.
But if you're the
Aaron
Yankees,
Judge
right? If you're the
Stanton,
Yankees, yeah.
But Stanton
and
4.
Castro, he had like 30 last year. It's still to your benefit.
Yeah, but they have a new manager.
Yeah. Judge being leadoff, I'm not against. That's my point. Is it's probably a good idea, although he does strike out a lot. So you're sometimes you're just giving an out away right out the gate, and is that worth it?
He also said he's not playing or not doing the home run derby.
Yeah, because afterwards he went in that huge slump. I don't know if I believe in that, but
I really don't think he's going to do the home run derby.
No, I know, but I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I feel like it's the Madden cover thing. It's not real. Did the Madden cover curse even happen last year?
Tom Brady.
And no one likes to talk about it when it doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
Well,
yeah,
to be
Tom
fair,
Brady was healthy all year, had
he
a great
made it to
year.
the Super Bowl.
I guess
right?
the only curse that you have is you didn't win a Super Bowl.
To be fair, the year before Gronk, I mean,
yeah, and people were talking about it. They love to talk about it when it happens, but when it doesn't happen,
Nobody's saying it never happened.
I think this is the only
doesn't
year it
always
hasn't
happen.
happened, though.
Hmm?
I think this is the only year it hasn't happened, the Madden curse.
No, I think there's been
No.
other years.
All right, you can give your picks, and we'll end the show on the Madden curse.
All right. I'm gonna go with one of the two teams I picked last year, Boston Red Sox, with their gigantic salary. And I'm also gonna throw in the. I think this is.
You're going with it again. You're about to do it again. You didn't learn the first time. The second time.
Let's see if I can get it. Let's see if I can get this right. Can they play the Cubs in the World Series?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go with the Cubs.
You should have just went with it because now it's going to be that.
I'm sorry, I was more into the Madden curse. Who was your first one?
The Red Sox.
All right. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't assuming things. All right, let's go through some cover athletes now, apparently. And then we'll talk about boxing. We have Kelvin Johnson. When he was a cover athlete the same year, he had 122 catches, 1,954 yards, 5 touchdowns.
So he lit it up.
Madden 13.
No Madden curse there.
Madden 2001, Eddie George, 16 games, 403 carries, 1,509 yards, 14 touchdowns. First team.
Are these all the times it didn't happen, basically?
Yeah. Madden 2005, Ray Lewis, 15 games, 146 tackles, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles.
Decent year.
Madden 15, Richard Sherman, 16 games, 4 interceptions, 11 passes defensed, 67 tackles, all pro. Madden 16, Odell Beckham Jr., 96 catches, 1,450 yards, 13 touchdowns, Pro Bowl. Madden 11, 16 games, 4,600 yards, 33 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, a little high. Pro Bowl, 11-5 record.
For who?
Drew Brees, sorry.
Oh.
Madden 25, Adrian Peterson, 279 carries, 1,266 yards, 10 touchdowns, Pro Bowl. 2003, Marshall Faulk, 14 games, 212 carries, 953 yards, 8 touchdowns, Pro Bowl.
Super Bowl, too.
Madden 09, Brett Favre. His league high of interceptions at 22. But he also had 22 touchdowns, 3,400 yards, played in all 6. He was playing for the Jets, too, to be fair.
That was his last season, then.
Yeah.
He was either with the Vikings or the Jets.
Madden 10 had 2 cover athletes. Palomalu played in 9 games, so there's a little curse. And Fitzgerald played in 16. 97 catches, 1,092 yards, 13 touchdowns, league high touchdowns, Pro Bowl. Ooh.
So far it's happened once?
Yeah. After that, it starts to go downhill. Because we have Dante Culpepper.
Ooh.
14 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 4-7 record.
So this is when the curse actually begins.
Peyton Hillis, 10 games, 161 yards, 587 yards.
Yeah, that was a huge bust. That had
That guy
everybody
cashed
messed
out.
up on fantasy.
He cashed out on 1 year of success.
Madden 07, Sean Alexander, 252 carries, 896 yards, 7 touchdowns. Year.
Yeah.
Madden 06, Donovan McNabb, 9 games, 2,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4-5 record.
Probably tore ACL that year.
Madden 17, Rob Gronkowski, we already said that. Michael Vick, 2004, 5 games, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a fractured fibula in the preseason. And that's all I have.
Sounds like more often than not, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's why
curse
people still
debunked.
go on the Madden cover.
Yeah.
If it was like a legit thing where like it happened more often than not, people are probably like, no, I don't want to.
And the years like it doesn't happen, those players go on to have pretty much amazing seasons.
Or
Like Brady.
they're just past their prime and looking for a little extra cash on their way out to retirement. All right. Well, before we go, there's a big fight this Saturday. Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. the second semifinals, I guess we could call it, Corey?
Yeah, pretty much. You have who many consider the number 1 heavyweight versus the number 3. And three of the 4 major titles are on the line. Anthony Joshua is a heavy favorite, but there's a lot of insiders that think the odds are a little overboard. That Joseph Parker is a really good fighter. He's just not known to the American market, so a lot of the bookies are overlooking him. He's only fought 1 top 10 heavyweight, which he dismantled him, so that was impressive. But Anthony Joshua has defended his title now 4 times, has defeated 3 different top 10 heavyweights, and has looked impressive doing so. He's knocked out all his competition, including Vladimir Klitschko.
The Russian Prime Minister?
So, I mean, Joshua should be the favorite. I have him winning. It's more or less I want to see him win because I really want to see Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, because that is what is now probably the biggest fight that can be made in boxing, because getting into the other thing, the biggest fight in boxing may not happen. That would be Canelo versus Triple G 2. Canelo failed the first test and he blamed it on the meat. The second test came through and failed again.
Higher.
What?
10 times higher.
Yeah, and it failed again. And most notably, HBO has pulled all promotion of the fight. They're no longer talking about it. They pulled down all their posters. They pulled down all the advertisements, which is a clear sign that the fight probably isn't going to happen. Triple G's team, in his defense, is not calling for that because I think he's trying to cash out. He's almost 35 years old. He really needs the money before he goes off into retirement, and he could use another Canelo payday. But Canelo probably could care less if he fights Triple G or not. So he's going to make money fighting a bum because he's the most watched fighter in boxing now. So he can really fight Joe Schmo, and it doesn't matter. It's depressing. It's sad. I really thought Canelo was clean. It's getting harder to believe that he was. Now Triple G said he could see needle marks in him the first go round, but it was too late because they were standing face to face and touching gloves, and he wasn't going to call the fight off at that point because it was a huge payday. It is what it is. I guess it's who you want to believe. Sad.
Take it back when I was 17. Distribution let it Medellin. Take a look into my eyes, you can see the pain. Hood, they can never take me from it.
All right.
Money, weather.
Floyd Mayweather may or may not fight in the MMA ring. We'll see. He's going to get his ass handed to him, whatever happens.
I heard it may not be against Conor, though.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's going to be against
CM Punk.
Yeah.
So. Why?
Because a lot of people think he could actually beat CM Punk, and if he got a win under his belt, it would make the McGregor fight that much bigger. Like, because people would buy into the hype that he can win. Right? I guess CM Punk is that bad.
Yeah. But if you don't win against CM Punk,
it destroys everything.
Right. Then there's no Conor.
There's
still put it this way: how much do you think you can pay CM Punk to lose and make it look good?
I mean, he did it for a living.
Right. that's where it really comes into play, and I think that's a possibility.
I definitely see an intrigue into it, and I think it's going to be a payday for both fighters because there is interest. No one's going to really want to watch Conor versus Floyd in the MMA ring other than people that want to see him beat up, which is everyone. So I guess there might be more of a payday. But, like, to Corey's point, all right, Floyd may make $500 million off of this fight and then use that to springboard into the $1 billion fight.
Right. Then where's the rubber match? What happens with the rubber match? They just fucking take like swords.
Foot race.
Foot race. Swords and
to the street.
Fight to the death.
Just have a foot race.
I think in a street fight, Conor kicks his ass too. Honestly.
Foot race.
Yeah, Connor's allowed to do whatever he wants to
Right,
do. I think.
street fight. Yeah. I know it's a little different, but even then, MMA is still different.
Right.
Still favor Connor.
All right, and last but not least, also, what about Anthony Joshua possibly being signed by UFC?
I heard that he has a lot of interest in it. I think they're throwing big time money his way.
Yeah, he was offered like $350 million to fight under the Zuffa boxing banner, so it'll be interesting to see.
They're just trying to cash in on that Anthony Joshua train. I mentioned Canelo being the highest paid or the biggest name, but supposedly Joshua is making the most money right now. So if you could cash in on that,
yeah,
you may think about it because he's only 28 and he said he doesn't want to fight that long. So if he beats Wilder, what is there left? He just unified. He could just be like, all right, I'm out and do UFC while I'm still young and see what happens.
So we'll see what happens there. Let's set some ground rules for Monday, though. On to our chicken wing contest. I gotta make it.
You guys have been doing this, on the low.
Is that this Monday?
This coming Monday.
Well, that would be a championship game.
Yeah, so the Final Four is Saturday?
Yep.
Yep, that would be how it works, Corey. Every year. It's a 3-week process.
I just can't believe it's the day after Easter. That isn't usual.
Trust the process.
I do remember...
Well, April Fool's
the year
Day
that
is
Syracuse
Easter.
went to the final 3 tournaments ago. Well, 2 tournaments. However you want it.
Steffan, man.
You know what I mean. They beat Virginia to go to the Final Four, so that was an Elite Eight game. That was on Easter. I remember that. So must be a little bit.
A little different. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm a little confused.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
well,
dates.
Still.
All right, I'm getting back with it.
It still works out the same. It starts, you have 3 weeks of it, and then we're
Follow
done.
the dots. Jeez.
And then it's on to the draft, and then it's on to NBA Finals,
And then it's
on
on to a huge drought and boredom. And then we're right back in it in fall.
and then it's on to the time where I just kind of go, I'm busy, guys. Sorry.
Well, then football starts, though.
Yeah.
Well, no, the drought though. It's
The
like
drought.
a 2-month drought.
Yeah. 2 months.
It's like a month and a half.
It sucks, though. It's so grueling.
It feels like 6
Yeah,
months.
it does.
All right, back to the chicken wing.
All right.
So, rule number 1 is that we're going to do them cold, right, Corey? That was one of our rules.
They have to be cold?
Well, choice. You have the choice of
Choice. So you
heating
can get them the night before and put them in the fridge and then eat them the day after if you want.
Is that supposed to help?
Well, you can get the day of. I'm getting them the day of,
Okay, either way.
but I'm putting them in the fridge.
I don't know if it helps or not. I wouldn't think it would.
No, it basically prevents your mouth from burning from the cooking process.
Oh, I mean, I don't want them like blazing hot, from like temperature wise, but I want them warm.
But it also gives you the option if you want to eat them cold, you can eat them cold.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. Rule number 2, we're given a 10-minute time frame to eat said wings. Correct?
Yeah. So you can eat as many as you can in 10 minutes.
So as many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're setting the limit at 6 or however many comes in their small size.
Oh, okay. So if you eat 6 the fastest,
Mm-hmm.
or if you can not.
And we'll go to the replay. We'll have a clock going, so if you're done with all 6, maybe we need like a third-party judge to verify that the bones are clean.
Okay.
And it's Buffalo Wild Wings blazing sauce. No mag.
That's not even their hottest, is it?
That's their hottest,
Is that their hottest?
I believe. Whatever their hottest
When
is
are we
called.
going to do it? Because I would prefer to enjoy the championship game.
I was going to
but-
say in the second half, unless it's a blowout. If it's a blowout, let's do it in the first half. Why not?
All right.
I just want to see us all crying.
That's going to happen.
I hate my life.
Are we allowed to drink anything?
During?
During
Probably not, right?
Probably not, because you're gonna get stuff on yourself. Then.
Yeah. Probably after
I mean,
you can
that's-
chug milk or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, or beer.
If you're worried about somebody getting stuff on themselves, like that's up to that person. Like that's not like It's whether or not like you want the person to be able to
Yeah.
kind of quench that hotness.
If they throw up, they're disqualified,
Yeah.
which might happen with me. God, I kind of want to do like a test run with the boneless wings just to see how my stomach's gonna feel.
But then that's going to deter you from doing the whole thing.
No,
If
I'll
it's
do
not a
it
good
still.
experience.
I just want to like know what I'm in for. Like right now, I'm scared because I don't know what.
No, I think we should all go into it not knowing what we're in
Oh, yeah.
for.
That's fair.
So to your point, I guess we don't care if you do drink or not, right? It's going to slow you down if you drink because you're going to be taking a break.
Yeah.
So I don't really care, I guess, if
Yeah.
you drink or not.
Gonna have a nice bowl.
They're
of
allowed
rice.
to in the hot dog eating contest. So I mean, this is the same thing, right?
This summer, stay tuned. Hot dog eating contest.
Oh, I've got a twist to that we can
Can it
do.
be a Coney contest? Hot dogs make me puke.
Chili dogs.
That's fine.
Corn dogs.
Sure. There's bread. There's a hot dog in there.
Pizzas? I don't care. Whatever. Just everything.
Pizza dogs?
Have you guys ever heard of the 999 challenge?
No.
Mm-mm.
So you know how a baseball game's 9 innings?
Mm-hmm.
In those 9 innings, you have basically you have 9 innings to eat 9 hot dogs and drink 9 beers.
Hmm.
So
A lot.
I threw that one out to Ben, so he might be down for that one.
That's 3 hours, though. That is a long time.
Yeah, but still,
The beers is what I'm thinking.
yeah.
9 hot dogs? Eh.
So maybe more to come for our summer
Do you have
boredom.
to? Do you have to be at an actual baseball game?
We might have to change that rule, but I believe it's usually at a baseball game.
Maybe we just have to watch a game on TV.
Yeah, that's fine.
I feel like I'd rather do it at the Chiefs game though. That'd be
Yeah, you
cool.
got dollar night, don't
Well,
they?
obviously, I'm not saying fucking go drink 9 beers and then drive home.
Don't they have dollar Thursdays or anything?
Yeah, they do. That's when I was
Yeah.
gonna go. That's when I was gonna do it.
Cheap.
Maybe
Actually, they're $2 beers, $1 hot dogs.
maybe I'll fly in just.
You guys don't have a minor league out there?
No.
No.
Tacoma is the closest one, which is past Seattle. So
Yeah, but at the game, don't we have a time limit to when we can keep buying beers?
well,
Seventh inning.
you stock up.
So you got to stock up.
So by the 7th inning,
We have to have
you realize how many beers you need, and you just.
So then I know after the 7th inning if I'm.
But at the same time, they only let you buy 2. I don't even know if they let you buy 2.
So F it. I'm gonna drink the 9 beers first.
Basically, just drink your 9 beers, and then
And then I'm going ham on these hot dogs.
The only problem though is
Could I get 9 hot dogs, please?
their dollar nights get so insane. So I don't even know if it's a realistic.
The
thing to
7th
do.
inning.
Well, if
stretch,
you
I'm
can
gonna
get a
up and
third
go ask for
party-
9 hot dogs.
That's not interested in the game.
Dude, all I'm saying is the last time I went there, I literally waited in line for a half hour for a beer.
Well, I mean, if like just say
And
hypothetically,
that line never went down for the entire game. It was
if all
that
3 of us
fucking
were to
thing.
go, there's 6. I mean, hey.
We could just
That's all
sneak
you're
in
doing.
and
Just go straight to the end of the line while you're eating.
go. Yeah, basically that's what you'd have to do.
Yeah, get my hot dogs and go back.
I think I would get all 9 hot dogs,
You have to.
wear a hoodie, put them all in my fucking front pocket, and then double fist beers, and you're just working on hot dogs when you're in line.
I'm just gonna go walk around the stadium as to all the hot dog and beer stands. I'll get one at one. By the time I do there, pound my beer, eat my hot dog. When I get to the next one, pound my beer, eat my hot dog, and do that 9 times.
See, it gets
So F the
expensive
game.
here in Seattle.
I'm just there walking around.
I need to know like someone behind the beer counter, make friends, be like, "Hey, you want some free beer? I can give you some free beer outside of the stadium."
I mean, it's not even the beer being free; it's just getting the beer because they're only $2 beers.
No, I'm saying for me though in Seattle
For him.
Oh.
at the Mariners game, that's gonna
That's why I think I'm just gonna do it at home.
it's like a $500.
We're going out for it. We're going out for
Even
it.
if it's Buffalo Wild Wings, we're going out.
No, we're going to the game for is what I'm saying. It'll be
I don't know.
alive.
Have you ever
That's
eaten
gonna
9
be
hot dogs?
That'll probably be our highest rated video if we live feed that.
Yeah. Have you ever eaten
Especially
9
if we're
hot dogs
already
before?
8 or 9 in.
I get nauseous after 2.
2 beers or 2 dogs?
2 dogs.
Oh, yeah.
2 beers too.
I was like, wait, what?
Well, this is beer number 2. I'm starting to feel a little sick, so I guess it's time to end. Any other rules you guys want to add before we end the show?
No.
We already said it can't be boneless, right?
Right. That was the other rule I was trying to remember.
I mean, basically, it's just gonna come. I mean, kind of sucks. You don't really have a choice in what kind of wings you get, like as far as like legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm thinking is if we get the smallest batch, probably, honestly, I'm going to get 2 batches. And in the first half, I'm going to eat some that I actually like.
Yeah.
Try to get that flavor in my mouth.
Oh, these are so good.
Ones.
This is the last time I'm eating chicken wings, so I might as well enjoy the first half.
Yeah. Because I think I can eat 12 wings. So, I mean, I don't think it's like ruining my stomach if I eat 6
Right.
big ones first.
Yeah.
Might even mix in the other ones. Pull myself down a little.
Good. There's nothing against that, right?
Oh, dipping sauces. Are they allowed?
Yeah, why not?
No. Because that
Okay.
distributes.
Yeah, he doesn't want blue cheese to dilute it or whatever.
Yeah.
else it is.
I'm just gonna fill my mouth up with milk and then just eat.
I think I might puke and not from eating.
If you don't eat the wing first, that
Milk
counts.
splashing everywhere.
Him going almost puking.
You
Might
just see
make me puke.
Steffan gurgling milk as he's all. I need to take the clips of us doing things with.
I'm gonna do as much research on what is available to cool your mouth down.
Rice is a good option.
Nice.
Does almond milk work? It's all the only kind of milk I have.
I'm gonna assume urine probably works, so I might go that route.
Urine, I heard, is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corey's gonna show up with this yellow jug just to make Steffan puke.
It's sterile and I like the taste.
Alright. Well, we'll see you Monday to watch Loyola Chicago versus Nova.
Nah. Michigan versus Nova.
Loyola versus Kansas.
The only one that's on Michigan.
Yeah, fuck Michigan, dude.
Poor Michigan. I mean, they don't have Chris Webber. Who cares? This is their year. Alright. Always cool
Fuck,
people.
fuck Michigan and fuck Jalen Rose's 100-year-old grandma or mom, whatever the fuck she is. Grandma. It's gotta be his grandma.
Sister Jean.
No, didn't you see it? Like, fucking Jalen Rose's grandma, 100-year-old grandma, is talking shit about Michigan.
Oh,
She was talking shit to Sister Jean.
I like it.
Two old-ass ladies just talking shit
I want
to
to
each
see
other.
them fight.
Celebrity deathmatch?
Mm-hmm.
Coming this summer.
They are now, kind of.
CBS. Alright. Later.